Hey guys, it's Benefits of a G from G Tracker here, and today's video is going to be about just how to merch in general as a beginner. I've seen a lot of you guys come in recently into the Discord chat and ask what type of items you should be flipping or where you should be looking for items, what type of margins would be good to look at. And I really want to go into the basics in this video on, where to start, what you should be looking for in terms of margins, in terms of trading volume, because there is some red flags that you should be paying attention to. But if you're a merchant that's been doing this for a while, you've already been flipping for quite some time, this video isn't really for you. This is going to be more for people who have never flipped before, like whatsoever. But before we get into this video, why don't we go over to our last video where we did a Christmas special giveaway where we were going to award 2 winners a month-long subscription to our website. So why don't I go over to that real quick and see who our winners are. Alright guys, so just like last time, this is a tool that I use to pick out a random winner from our first video where we did a 2 bond giveaway. So I've already uploaded the link here, and this is going to let me know if someone tried commenting more than once and trying to boost their chances of winning. And if I see a user who has commented more than once, I'm going to have to go back to see if they entered their GE Tracker username more than once. Because if they did, then I'd have to disqualify them because that's cheating, and it wouldn't be fair for everyone else that only commented once, which is the fair way to do it. So I already uploaded the URL here. So let's go ahead and load the video. Okay, and then we're going to be able to pick a random winner, which there were 69 unique people who have commented on this. So I guess one person commented more than once. So let's see here. Okay, so Toph Gigigamer at live.com. Your site is amazing, mate. Made far more flipping than I've made doing anything else. Well, cheers. So good luck, guys, or congratulations, Lift Toph Gigigamer at live.com. You've just won yourself a month-long subscription to our website, seeing here that you've only made one comment. And then we're going to go ahead and pick our second winner. Emily Hilst only commented once. Awesome videos and nice tool. I'd love to win a bond so I can start flipping some more member items. G Tracker name Milili 6255. Well, thank you for the nice compliments, guys. So congratulations, Milili, and the other guy for winning a month-long subscription to our website. And in terms of the bond, sad to say that this wasn't the video that we were doing a bond giveaway, but Emil, if you're watching this video, then be sure to stay tuned for the video in which we're going to do our 11 old school RuneScape bond giveaway. But that's not going to be something, well, I'll actually talk more about that later on. So congratulations, guys, and thank you so much for the kind comments, and let's get back into the video. All right, guys, so usually the first thing that people ask is, which item they should start flipping. And, I can see how that's a difficult question to answer, seeing how when you go into the Grand Exchange, you have to type in an item yourself, and you really don't know what type of item to flip. I mean, there's so many variety of items that you could possibly go into, and you don't really know where they even stand unless you click on the item. So luckily for our beginner type merchants, we have our high volumes tool. And, this is really perfect for those who are really, really new to flipping in general. Generally, these have the lowest risk possible. Usually high volume items have very, very low risk. But one thing to keep in mind, when you're looking at this tool here, and I'm just going to be clicking on this every now and then so I don't log out. When you're looking at this tool here, when you click on this tab here to show the highest profit to the lowest profit, you're going to notice some items have some really high margins. And right now, this is a stamina potion. But right off the bat, I always tell people to look at the trading quantity. And right now, we're going to see that the buy-sell ratio is negative. So that's indicating that there's more people selling this than there is buying it. So right now, in my head, I already know that this right here is probably not going to be the type of margin that I'm going to find in the game right now, and it's probably going to be closed down pretty fast. seeing how there's more people trying to get this off their inventory as opposed to people trying to buy it, I can see the margin on this closing in rather quickly. So why don't we go ahead and check real quickly to see what the margin really is. So right now we're seeing that the current price is about 6.7K, and then the approximate sell price is around 7K. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this right now so we can load the graph for that. But quickly, why don't we go to the stamina potion, which was a 4-dose. And then when you are new to flipping and you're using the high volumes tool, you're going to always want to check the margins in game regardless. You know, this high margins tool right here that I was showing earlier is really to give you an idea of items that you could flip that are showing a profitable margin at any given point in time. But as I was showing you right now, the stamina potion had a significant amount of people selling this as opposed to buying it. So right off the bat, I already know that that margin has gone down. And to check the margin in game, all you do is just put the price in as a ridiculously high price, so you instantly buy it, and then you take the item and you instantly sell it for a really low price. And then all you're going to do is go to your GE history, and it's going to show you what the margin actually was. And right off the bat, we can see that the margin isn't the 300 and something that it was showing earlier, and it's really closed down rather quickly. And, you know, this is something that I've seen you guys talk about in Discord chat. You guys have been looking at the high volumes tool, and you've been saying, hey, it's showing that there's a 400 GP margin, but when I go in game, you know, it's only like 20 GP margin, you know, and that was because when we look at the trading quantity, people are trying to get it off their hands. No one is buying this. And, you know, I always say basic economics says that, you know, supply and demand, since there's more people trying to get rid of this, the price is going to go down and the margin is going to collapse on itself pretty quickly. So when you see an approximate profit right here, something like this, and then you go in game saying, hey, this isn't right, you always want to look at all the data, okay? I always see people looking at specific pieces of information and then thinking, you know, this is always the way it should be. And I always tell them, you know, that's not right. You should always be looking at everything. Always look at the whole picture. So right off the bat, we already know that there's a ton more people trying to sell this as opposed to buying it. And then if we go down here, we can see on the monthly timeline that generally this was on a decline. So this was something that was bound to have margins collapse on itself, seeing how the demand isn't really there. And then these are just abnormalities here. So this might have caused that huge margin spike right here. So if I saw this and I saw this, I already know that, you know, people are trying to get this off their hands, that there's really no buyers. So because there's more suppliers than there's the demand for it, the price has gone down, just like the graphs have been showing you. And then when I click on the weekly price, it's going to show me that there was this one abnormality here where there was a price point where some guy got lucky and was able to sell it for a ridiculously high price than it normally would be sold at. So that's something to keep in mind. So that obviously skewed the little approximate profit here. And, you know, just digging a little bit into this is going to show you a clearer picture as to what's really going on. And we're going to see that this is really selling, you know, not for that much of a margin at most times, not the 396 that it was showing, but you will see on occasion that people are having some weird abnormalities like this, and this isn't something that you should bank on. You shouldn't buy, you know, like 10,000 of these and try and think, okay, I'll try and put the item in for 9,000 in the grand exchange, hoping someone will buy it. Maybe you'll get one buy offer off of that, but showing the monthly graph here, the long-term trend is going down. So you're not going to see that 9K price that you were seeing on the day or weekly time graph. But why don't we go back here and look at another item to see an example of. Just going to click on this. Okay. And then right now it's showing me a grimy irit leaf. And then if you look at the buying selling quantity, there's a whole lot more people buying this as opposed to selling it at this point in time. There's about 111 GP margin. So this is telling me right off the bat, this is in demand at this current point in time. And this can obviously change at any point in time. So why don't we click on this to see a clearer picture? Okay, so there's buying, selling quantity is in favor of the buyers or the sellers trying to make a profit off of this. Now, if you look at the monthly timeline, it's pretty erratic. So this is a perfect example of something that someone who is more used to flipping would try and make a long-term investment in. So if you see these kind of if you see these kind of bumps like this, then you might want to invest at a very low price, stocking up on this and hoping that maybe you'll get a higher price on this. But that's generally for people who are more experienced doing this. And if we look at a longer time frame, we're going to see that, it still plays that weird fluctuation throughout the entire year. And if we click on the weekly time frame, it's still kind of erratic. We can see that there's a huge drop, big increases, big drops. So that's what's playing around with the price right now. And if we look down here, we're going to see the overall high, overall low. So there's a generally big profit margin. If we look down at the trading volume, there's a pretty significant amount of this being circulated. And generally, there's more buyers than there is sellers during today. Let's click on the weekly time frame. It still looks like there's a lot more buyers. Let's click on the monthly time frame. Okay, so now that we look at the monthly time frame, now it's starting to look like there's more sellers than there is buyers. But since we're looking at a shorter time frame, and this is for beginners, I won't go too much into that. So right off the bat, I already know that there's a demand for this, but I should be cautious of the fact that this could decline pretty soon, seeing that there are more buyers in the monthly time frame than there is at a shorter time frame. And same thing with the quarter time frame. So why don't we go ahead and check to see what the margin is for this item. And that was okay. That was that leaf. Grimy irit leaf. So again, we're going to go ahead and increase this really high. And then we're going to go ahead and decrease this really low to see what it instantly sells for. Okay. And then we're going to see, okay, so there is a pretty significant gap. And, that's kind of a point proven where you guys should really look at the picture, the overall picture. This was pretty erratic throughout any time frame that I was looking at. It has its bumps and rises. So this might be something that I would flip. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and invest in this right now. And so it's showing me, what you sold it for is what you're going to want to buy this item for. So I'm going to go ahead and type into the chat $13.55. And then the bot price is going to be its current cap, which can change literally in seconds. So I'm going to put 14.21. And I'm going to go ahead in the Grand Exchange and put an offer for this. And then hopefully we can get this to sell and buy by the time this video ends. But this isn't really going to be a video that I'm going to try and do an hour-long flipping video in. If you guys want to see something like that, leave a comment down below if you guys want to see something like that. But I'm going to go ahead and type in 1361. So it's just a little bit above what I was able to sell this for at a very, very low cost. And you're going to want to put something like somewhere in the middle, some kind of random number, it could be 1362, 1363, whatever, just something random. I'm going to go ahead and buy, let's go ahead and buy 1,000 of these. So that's 1.362 million, and maybe that'll buy, maybe it won't. Let's go ahead and go to the high volumes tool again. Okay. So now the raging potion. The raging potion again is showing that there is a significant amount of people selling this as opposed to buying it, and the buy-sell ratio indicates that. So this margin right here would be something that I would be skeptical of. And if I click on this real quick, let's go ahead and review this real quick. Okay. It's pretty erratic. So that would be something that the margins could possibly be there. Even though there's more sellers than there is buyers, this is indicating that, it is kind of erratic, and those margins might actually be there for some of you merchants out there. I'm not saying that you should flip this. I never want to say, flip a certain item. All I want to do is teach you guys how to look at this. So looking at the monthly time frame, I can see that it's going up to 2.4K and all the way down to 1.9K. And then looking at the weekly time frame, 2.1, 2.5. So this would be something I would flip. And I would be looking at this chart very carefully to make sure that I'm picking a price point that I know I can recover from. So I wouldn't really go for a price really like 2.2K. I would really go for something on a lower end. And right now it's showing me that this is selling for pretty high based on what, I can get it for. So why don't we go ahead and check what the margin on this is in game currently. And I think it was the 4-dose potion. Let's double check. It's the 3-dose. Okay, that's what we always check. Okay, so it's 3-dose. Okay, let's quickly increase this price. See what it would sell for. And you shouldn't do this. When I'm checking margins in game, I want to stress the fact that you shouldn't be doing this for all types of items. This is really a safe bet for high volume items because generally you're not going to lose a lot of money. You might lose like 1,000 if you get unlucky, but that's insignificant loss. So it's nothing really to stress over, but you wouldn't do something like this for maybe like an Armadyl God Sword or Primordial Boots. This is really just for high volume items. And as we can tell that there's a pretty significant gap here, but I would be skeptical of paying this price because earlier, it got cut off. Earlier, I bought a different herb that was hitting its peak, and then I paid too much. I'd paid something like this, and then it instantly crashed to about like a 400 GP loss, and I had to wait a while on that to recover my losses. So instantly, I would be cautious of this, and I might not invest in this if I were to want to flip this. And if I were to invest in this, again, I would pick something on the lower end. So I might not get this in this video, but I can see that I can get this at around, close to 2K, 2.1K, something along those lines. So I'm going to go ahead and invest. I'm going to go ahead and invest something pretty low, and it's certainly not going to sell during this video. This is just going to be something that's more long-term. This is something that I'm more comfortable with. So what was the margin? I forgot to type the margin. Let's go back real quickly. Okay, so it's 2558, 2558, and then 2770, and then it was able to buy for that amount. Okay. So ranging potion, 3-dose. I'm not going to put it for, I don't know, 2089, something random. And that's kind of the point. You want to put something random that isn't really an even number. And I'm just going to buy 500 of these. And that's kind of a significant amount of my cash stack here. But this is something that I'm comfortable with. This would be something for more of you experienced merchants out there. I kind of threw this in there for you guys. But for those of you guys who are brand new to flipping, who have never done this before, I wouldn't advise doing something like that. But there's an example just in case you guys wanted to be a little bit more risky. But don't get mad at me if you guys lose some money on that. Again, that's kind of a riskier investment that I just made. So let's just click on this again. And then a Dragon Dart. Okay, so it looks like there's more people buying this than they're selling it. And this is showing a decent profit. And earlier, I saw you guys talking in chat where this was having a 300 GP margin. And again, I'm not going to go repeat myself, but you're going to want to look at the entire picture as a whole to see is it really going to experience a 300 to 400 GP margin? And if it does, was it kind of like an abnormality, or was it kind of something that happens all the time and it really pushed that margin because it was something of a recent crash or a recent rise in that price. So if we look at this here, let's actually start with the yearly view to see what it looks like. Okay, so it was normally selling for a lot higher, and it's went down to 1.3K, up to 2K. Let's look at the quarterly. Okay, looks pretty flatlined. Okay, flatlined again. Okay, wait, let's go back to the monthly view. So you see this drop here. This is why I always stress to look at the graphs. Always look at the graphs. If you see this table showing like a 300 GP margin, like I saw earlier this morning or yesterday morning, is when I saw you guys talking in chat about this. Always look at the chart to see if there was some abnormality that might have skewed the table a little bit. So this right here, 1.1K, would have obviously skewed the table and would have obviously indicated that there was a massive profit to make when it clearly isn't true. So always look at the graphs, guys. Always look at the graphs. And if we look at a shorter time frame, it looks like those type of bumps can happen on occasion, but not that drastic. Okay, so looks like normally we're going to experience a 50 GP profit, but this is something that's pretty flatlined. Looking at this picture as a whole, it looks like the profit margin here that it's showing is really abnormalities. These abnormalities that I'm seeing here. So this is actually an item that I wouldn't flip unless I wanted to flip it in a rather quick succession. So maybe I can flip this really quickly for you guys to see just an example of that. So again, we're just going to increase this really quickly. And then we're going to drop this really low. And let's actually see if we can experience an abnormality right now by selling this for 1 GP. Nope. Okay. We didn't get something crazy. And we're seeing about 100 GP margin. So I'm going to see if I can quickly flip this for you guys in the video before I end this, because I know it's getting quite long now. Okay. So we have it at 2085 Dragon Dart. Okay. So let's do 2093. Something like that. And I'm only going to buy 100 of these because I only want to give you guys an example. This is something that's pretty flatlined. I'm not quite sure this is going to sell by the time this video starts or ends, but we'll put that in there just in case. And then if you look back at the high volumes tool, okay, and Toad Flag Potion. There's a whole lot more people selling this than there is buying it. So I don't even think I want to look at this. There's pretty much no one buying this. So I'm instantly going to just not look at that. But if we look down at the Dwarf Weed Potion, it looked like there was more people buying this than they're selling it, with the buy-sell ratio positive. But if we look at this graph here, okay, so it looks like it's gone up and down on occasion, and our Dragon Darts just sold. So let's just quickly try and sell this as an example for you guys. Actually, wait, what was the price? Okay, so 2180. OS Buddy showing 2146. So that's so OS Buddy showing like a happy medium between the two. So why don't we put 2035? So that'll be a decent profit. If I were to buy a lot more of these, I only bought 100 of these as an example, just to show you guys how this works. So that's something that I put, so 2085 to 2135. Okay, and I'm looking at the quarterly graph. Nothing to see. Okay, so recently it's been declining. Was this something that was a result of an update? Maybe. Okay, the margins looks pretty significant. Let's see. I'm trying to see when Winter Dot was released, because Winter Dot had a pretty significant impact on herb prices in general, and it doesn't look like it was something that impacted that. Okay. Okay. All right. So looking at the day price, we're gonna we're gonna see a pretty significant gap here. And if we look down at the okay, so our dragon darts are sold. So there you go, guys. There's an example of how you would flip items using this tool on a quicker succession. Seeing how the dragon darts had a more flatline graph. This is something that I could do while sitting at the GE. So I could flip that there. I think I only made like a couple thousand GP off of that. I could have invested more for the video, but that's just an example for you guys. And looking at this, we're gonna see a pretty significant gap. But if we look at the prices, it's not that significant actually. It just means that the trading volume isn't that high. So yeah, we're seeing like 27, 353, 1. Okay, so obviously when we look at the trading volume, it's going to give us a better picture as to why this is happening. So obviously at certain points in time, there was no one buying or selling this. So that would indicate that that would be the reason as to why this is happening. There's missing data points at certain points in time. So there's a period of time where there were no buyers here. And if we look down here, there's a period of time that there were no buyers. And it looks like there were some spikes in buyers, and there's people who had sell offers. So maybe this was a group of people who have tried to invest in this item, and they're trying to get it off their hands, and it's just taking them quite a long time to do so. So if I were to flip this, this would be something that would be more long-term again. I probably wouldn't be able to flip this within the video span. So why don't we try checking the margins on this to see where it plays. Okay, so dwarf weed. Okay, so dwarf weed. Increase the price significantly and then drop it down. Okay. So the profit is about what the price was showing on the graph and as well as the tool. So we're going to type in this here. 2080. Okay, and let's go ahead and try and buy these and see if we can get these in time for the video to finish, because I'm going to wrap this up. This video is already quite long, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to make this as quickly as possible, but as well as trying to be as informative and detailed with some examples as I can. Because I know I've seen a lot of YouTubers, and especially the guys that we post on our video guide section. They've done some videos on this as well, where they sit at the GE for an hour and try and flip videos. And they don't really talk in detail as to, what to look for, which isn't a bad thing. Their videos are really good, and I really suggest that you guys check them out. I'm just trying to do a different approach on this so you guys can see how I would think and how I would approach this. So I'm going to type in 1989, and I'm going to buy, let's buy 500 of these. And I guess I'll just leave the rest of this cash stack here, or maybe we'll do another item. We'll do one last item before this video finishes. I know I keep saying I want to finish this video quite soon, but let's do one more. Okay, dragon javelin heads. Let's check this out. And then this one right here, it actually shows the GE limit. So on all the tools, in all the pages for the specific items, you're going to see a GE limit, in which you might see an infinity sign. And if you see an infinity sign, it doesn't mean infinity. It just means we don't have the known GE limit for it yet. And we're working on a feature where we're going to try and fix that up later and patch it up. But so this is a good indication of how much you could possibly buy. So that's something to good look at. Just make sure we don't log out. Okay. This was this item looks kind of funky, so it looks like it crashed. And this would be thinking back as to the light ballista and heavy ballista, because this would be something that this would be used for. The heavy ballista and light ballista have really seen really heavy losses on their, I guess not a heavy loss, but just a big decline in their value. I remember when this thing first came out, people were trying to sell it for like 40 million, and now it's down to 1.2 million. And if we look at the light ballista, we're going to see that around 1.2 million that it's actively trading at. So that's another way to view these items here, is to really get the whole picture of this. We know that dragon javelin heads are used for the ballistas, and it's mainly used for, I guess you could use it for Zora. I tried it out myself a little bit of times, but it's mainly used for PvP, PKers, but generally they're going to use like Gmauls or God Swords or whatever like that. And especially since they nerfed the heavy ballista, in which pures can't use it anymore, they're probably going to switch to something else, like maybe the Granite Maul or something like that. So I don't expect this item to really have an increase in price anytime soon. This is an item that I would expect to continuously decline. It might, if we look here, it increased for quite some time, maybe due to the dev mods trying to, make some use out of this item or the ballistas. And then after people, didn't want to use the ballistas anymore, we can see that it started to decline. So that's not going to be an item that I want to flip. Not going to want to invest in that, because I can expect this to continuously decline and not be really that much of use. And this is going to be an advanced concept here. Really for you advanced merchants out there, if you wanted to started stockpiling on items like this that have no value whatsoever, and you anticipate that maybe the J mods want to make the ballistas relevant again to the point where they're not 1.2 million, to the point where they're maybe like 3 or 5 million, 10 million, to where PKers are actively using them again, then maybe the dragon javelin heads would increase in price again. So as an advanced merchant out there, if you're still watching this video, those type of merchants would start to stockpile on this item quite heavily, but not to the point where they're increasing the price. This would be something that they're just kind of hoarding slowly over time, and just kind of waiting for that moment that these items become relevant again. But in the meantime, I don't really see this becoming relevant, and I think it's kind of like a dead item. But don't take my word on that. If you're an advanced merchant out there, and if you're a new merchant, don't take my word on that. Don't invest in that just because I talked about maybe it becoming relevant again. It's just a concept, just an idea, just trying to throw out ideas on how I would think as a merchant myself. So if we look down here, let's go to, I might just, the Saradomin brew. We might just invest the rest of this into Saradomin brews because they're quite pricey for my cash stack. And they did see a pretty significant price lately because of raids. People have been stocking up on, potions and stuff like that, thinking that, they would be quite of some use during raids, which is something that you wouldn't assume in a negative fashion. You would think that this is something that would be used, because if you die in raids, then your loot reward gets dropped down. So the idea is to stay alive as long as possible. So obviously these items have increased in price, but if we click on the day price, we're gonna see it's had some pretty big gaps. I'm not gonna look at something like this because those are pretty abnormalities, and it looks like it's been declining quite a bit lately. So it might have hit its cap. You know, people might not want to pay as much as they want to, even though there's still more buyers. So if I find a margin that's, you know, something like this, I'm not going to put a buy offer for that, but let's see what we would get. Okay. Saradomin brew. Oops. There we go. It was the 4 dose, I believe. Yes, it was. Increase this just a little bit. That's actually quite a lot. And then drop the price down. Okay, 7K. Okay, so we're seeing almost a 200 GP profit. But I wouldn't bank on the 200 GP. If we look down here, it looks like it was selling for a lot lower on the weekly time frame. If we look at the day time frame, it looks like it was selling a lot lower as well. So just because I saw that there's a 200 GP margin on this, I'm going to aim rather low. This is something I'm going to aim for, like maybe something like that. You know, that would be a decent price, I think, for me to invest in. So let's see. We'll type in Saradomin. And then let's see. It was down to 69. We'll do 69.17. So put this in for 69.17, and there's definitely no way that I'm going to expect this to sell by the time this video finishes. I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of my cash stack into this. Let's go a little bit lower. Okay, 230. And then as a merchant myself, I don't like to stand at the Grand Exchange. So as you can tell, out of all the items that I picked, well, the 5 items that I picked, only one of them was able to sell in a rather quick fashion, and that was the one that was a more flat-lined graph. So if you wanted to flip items in a quicker succession, then you're going to want to look for those flat-line graphs, and that might be something like if you click on the approximate profit and you go to the lowest, let's not make a negative profit, then you would want to find items that have, yeah, you're going to want to find items like this, really like consumables, something that you that's always flowing through. So you can see that the trading volume is really high. So you can tell that this is always flowing through circulation. So why don't we pick an item real quick? A law ruin. And with these, if you look at, you can obviously tell that it was showing that profit margin being really low. But if you wanted to flip really quickly and you just wanted to get a feel for how flipping feels, just so you can get your feet wet, then this would be something that you would do just to get used to it. And we can tell that the margin is really small. So then I would just put in a margin for, let's put it in for 197. And then we'll just put, I don't even think I can buy a lot of these. We'll put the rest of it. Yeah, we'll just put there the rest of our cash stack into that. And that would be something that would flip rather quickly. And, oops, didn't mean to click on Varick. But if you wanted to flip at the Grand Exchange and your items weren't flipping as quickly as you wanted to, then I suggest that you guys do something else. So right now I've been actually fishing. So while waiting for my items to flip, I go and do something else. And then when they are done flipping, then I come back and then I, do that whole process all over again. Okay, so this video has been quite long already. I didn't really mean for it to be this long, guys. I'm really sorry. But, that's a really pretty much in-depth guide on the basics to merching and how you would approach this from a more experienced merchant. I'm not going to claim myself to be an expert by any means. All I'm going to claim to be is just someone who has been doing this for quite some time, and I'm pretty comfortable with making some of those investments that I showed earlier. So if you guys want to see actually me doing like an hour-long flipping video of me trying to flip these as quickly as possible, leave a comment down below. let me know that you guys want to see that. Or if you guys have any suggestions on any other type of videos you guys want to see, leave a comment down below on that. So yeah, guys, so that's the end of the video, and thank you guys so much for watching, and till next time, guys, and good luck merching.